are listening to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan football. Joining me here in the Big House for year number 2 of the Jim Harbaugh era, I'm Leo Blavin. Jeremy Parks up here alongside me in the booth as Michigan gets set to open up their season against the University of Hawaii. Jeremy, expectations extremely high in year 2. We still don't know who the starting quarterback is. There's a few other positions of note that we still don't know who exactly will be starting today. But what has this fan base so excited about year number 2 for Jim Harbaugh?
Well, it's been a long offseason, Leo. The months have finally come. It is September. The sun is shining in Ann Arbor. Football is back. It was a season of expectations this offseason. Jim Harbaugh, globe-trotting, celebrity finding. Pretty much anything he did was in the media. That got the fans extremely excited. It really all began with the opening, with signing of the stars back when this new recruiting class of freshmen was brought in following last season. Now the hype is here. These freshmen are ready to go, as well as this Michigan Wolverines team currently betting favorites to make it to the college football playoff.
We'll send it down to the sideline for the opening coin toss.
Also joining us today, our honorary captain, 6-time NBA champion.
Good morning, gentlemen. Today's game, Michigan's the home team. Hawaii's the visitors. Number 11, you're going to speak for your team? All right, for today, we have a special coin. The M represents tails. The football helmet is heads. What's your call?
Heads.
Your call is heads. Heads is the call. Okay, we have 2 special guests with us. We have Mr. Lamar Whitley and Mr. Charles Woodson. Yes. Mr. Charles Woodson will flip the coin for us. All right, and the call is heads. Do the honor, sir. It is tails. Michigan logo. Michigan has won the toss. Look to the third of the second half.
And there you have it. Hawaii will start on offense, and we will get to see this Michigan defense that has this fan base extremely excited. Some injury questions. It appears as though Maurice Hurst or Mo Hurst will not be playing today, but that shouldn't temper anyone's expectations for what this defensive line can do. What players have you so excited about the front four?
Well, the Michigan defense all around, pretty much any rating that you look at, one of the best defenses in the country coming into this season, and it really all starts up front for the Wolverines. Looking at who's going to come out there today, Ryan Glasgow, Chris Wormley, Taco Charlton, bringing that power up front, along with an interesting face that fans might not have seen for a while, Brian Monet, highly rated coming into last season prior to a leg injury that kept him out of action for the entirety of last season. And it really just builds off from there, going back into the secondary with arguably the best cornerback in the country, Jordan Lewis, backed up by a wonderful bench with an incredible amount of depth. And the Wolverines really looking to build off of this defense. New defensive coordinator Don Brown joining the Wolverines in the offseason, where he led previously Boston College last season to statistically the best defense in the country. It's going to be blitz heavy. The Wolverines are going to try and hit those gaps and get home early, and we'll see how it goes. They are getting excited and ready for kickoff down on midfield.
Michigan will be starting working left to right, kicking it away from the student section, the wind blowing outwards towards the golf course here in the Big House. Hawaii in their road white uniforms, the green numerals, Michigan in their traditional blue tops with the maize numerals and the maize pants. A little bit darker matte finish on the helmets this year, but the same famous maize wings adorn the most iconic helmet in college football. Kenny Allen will kick things off for Michigan from the 35. The left hash mark is where he will do it. Paul Harris and Keelan Ivan-Liko back deep to return for the Rainbow Warriors. This kickoff is deep, fielded by Ivan-Liko, and he takes a knee. And Hawaii will start this one from their own 25-yard line. Hawaii comes out here, their starting quarterback, Ikaika Woolsey. Jeremy, what should fans expect from this Rainbow Warriors offense?
Well, the Rainbow Warriors went up in week 1. The first game of the college football season took place in Sydney, Australia, where the Rainbow Warriors took on the Cal Golden Bears. And really, Ikaika Woolsey was able to take advantage of a soft Cal secondary. He was able to complete 17 of 34 passes for 234 yards, had a touchdown and an interception in the column. Really did not look all that bad. However, that offensive line did not give him a ton of protection time. We'll see how they handle this amped up and excited Wolverines defensive front.
Jordan Lewis not out there, cornerback for the opening snap. Glasgow, Charlton, Monet, and Wormley are the front four. Hawai'i in the shotgun with two receivers out to the left for Woolsey. He will simply hand this one off on first down to St. Just, and Jabril Peppers in there immediately, drops him for a loss of two, throwing him around like a ragdoll.
And on a hyped Michigan Wolverines team, arguably the most hyped player on the team, Jabril Peppers, first play of the season for the Wolverines, busts right through the middle gap, able to get home, and a tackle for a loss to start the season.
Something we'll have to keep an eye on, though. Jordan Lewis not out there at cornerback to start this game. Stribling, Clark, and Thomas out there in coverage as we speak. Woolsey in the shotgun here on 2nd and 11.
Delano Hill, the deepest man back for the Wolverines defense.
He will drop back looking to throw, looking for the quick slant route. Jeremy Clark all over the intended target, and Baker forces it incomplete.
Good closeout coverage there by the Wolverines, able to force the throw inside. And an incomplete pass to start the arm day there for Ikaika Woolsey.
Three receivers out wide for this 3rd and 11 from the 26-yard line. Or the 24, for Hawai'i. St. Just on the right hip of Woolsey in the shotgun. He's got one receiver up top, two to his left. Michigan looking to bring pressure as 6 in the box. The handoff to St. Just, and he is wrapped up in the backfield. The first man there, Mike McCray, drops him for another loss. 3 up and 3 down for Hawai'i, losing 2 yards in total on their first offensive possession. And Jabril Peppers will drop back, looking to return this opening punt for Hawai'i.
Leo, you have to think that is the Don Brown defense at its finest, loading the box on all 3 opening plays for the Wolverines. And in 3 consecutive plays, the Wolverines able to put pressure on the Rainbow Warriors offense.
Rigoberto Sanchez back deep to punt this one away, lined up at his own 10. One of 4 players in the country to do all 4 kicking duties a season ago. We expect to see that from Kenny Allen today. This is a high booming kick. Plenty of room to return for Peppers, but he will simply fair catch it and place it down at the 29-yard line. No reason to take any risk there, and that's where Michigan's offense will start their season, at the 29-yard line.
Walking out onto the field with the Wolverines offense is Wilton Spate, getting ready to lead this Wolverines offense. Again, the quarterback position was a contested battle between Spate and the transfer from Houston, John O'Korn, but it appears as though Spate will get the nod today. It had been broken last week, but only suspected. Michigan had not given official word until now, sending Spate out onto the field.
And Grant Newsom will get the start at left tackle. Davion Smith in the backfield, a fake handoff to him on first down, and a throw intercepted from Spate on his first attempt. It is picked off. His intended target was Jake Butt, but the interception made there by Damian Packer, who had 10 tackles in the opening game. The senior from Puna, Hawaii, gets Hawai'i the ball across in Michigan territory. Not the start you would have scripted for Michigan. The first play of the game, a rollout to the right, and Wilton Spate picked off.
Rolled out to the right. The Hawai'i secondary picked up well on it, just read the eyes of Spate. And a fantastic play made by the Rainbow Warriors will put them in Michigan territory to start a drive.
So Hawai'i went 3 and out on their opening drive, but after the interception by Packer, the Rainbow Warriors will take over starting this drive at the Michigan 38-yard line.
Not the start that Wilton Spate was hoping for after a much-anticipated quarterback battle saw him take the opening snap.
Diosame St. Just to the left of Woolsey in the shotgun. 2 receivers split out wide to both sides. Woolsey drops back, has plenty of time, fires one deep into the right corner. This ball well overthrown, however, and it falls incomplete. Good coverage there by Channing Stribling on Marcus Kemp.
Marcus Kemp, the leading receiver for the Rainbow Warriors in the opening game against Cal, went for 4 receptions, 73 yards, and a touchdown. Appeared to break away and make a good move on the coverage of the secondary, but again, the ball overthrown by Woolsey.
Brings up 2nd and 10 from the Michigan 38 after the interception from Damian Packer for Hawai'i on Wilton Spate's first snap of the game. Woolsey with St. Just to his left in the shotgun. 2 receivers out wide to the right. Some early motion, but no flag as the handoff to St. Just, and he is busted by Delano Hill for a 2-yard drop back to the 40-yard line.
Michigan fans watching this defense, Delano Hill had dropped significantly back, but that speed, able to burst up through the line to the outside and make the tackle in the backfield. Yet another Wolverines defensive play in which they've blown up this Hawaii running attack in the backfield before it even begins.
3rd and 12 from the Michigan 40. Woolsey in the shotgun has trips receivers to his left, 1 to his right. Michigan with 6 in the box for this 3rd and long. Good snap. He drops back quickly under pressure, but steps up in the pocket, fires one deep. Getting a hand on it was Makoa Stevens, but it falls incomplete. 3rd down in Hawaii, or 4th down, I should say, in Hawaii with a decision to make. And the offense, Woolsey, the quarterback, heading off towards the sideline, and the rest of the offense will do so now as well. They will punt it. So Michigan, after an interception in their own half of the field, forces another 3 down. The defense showing their worth early on, and the special teams units coming on now for both sides. Peppers will drop back to return this. Probably won't have much of an opportunity. Rigoberto Sanchez will look to pin the Maize and Blue deep. He'll field this snap at his own 45-yard line. And before getting the snap off, it will be a delay of game. I'm not sure this hurts Hawaii too much. Gives Sanchez more room to boom this punt.
And for 2 drives by the Rainbow Warriors, 2 3-and-outs, a total of -3 yards, all on the rushing game.
Last week, Sanchez pinned Cal inside their own 20 twice, and he will look to do it for the first time in this game. So nothing else. Hawaii winning the field possession battle early on. Good snap. A good high punt. Peppers will let it fall. Signal for fair catch got drilled, and it's a fabulous punt. No flags coming from the sideline, and it is down at the 2-yard line, so Michigan will have to go 98 yards for the touchdown. From completely legal play, it appears, based on the lack of penalty flags on the field. But Peppers signaled for fair catch, acted like he was fielding it, and once it hits the turf, he is a blocker, and Hawaii took advantage, lighting him up. He was irate coming towards the sideline, but he got up quickly and appears to be okay.
Wilton Spate will come back out onto the field for the Wolverines. His only pass attempt, the first play of the game on offense for the Wolverines, an interception. Jim Harbaugh, the quarterback developer that he is, on the sideline prior to Spate coming out, giving him a few words of advice into the helmet and a hard pat on the head, and he throws him right back into the action.
Spate came in. On paper, it appeared he was the more game manager type of quarterback. John O'Korn, the guy seen with higher upside. What do we make of, obviously, a tough start, but what do you make of the decision overall to start Spate to open the season?
One of the most notable problems that John O'Korn had going into camp was his notable turnover rate. He was rather careless with the ball at Houston. Again, it is an air raid heavy attack down in Texas for the Houston Cougars, but O'Korn could be a little bit careless at times, making poor passes, and they decided on this Michigan offense that Wilton Spate was the less likely to make turnovers. And in the first play, throwing an interception to Packer. And now this Michigan fan base really getting behind the offense as they stand on the 2-yard line.
And they're also welcoming back 1997 Heisman Trophy winner Charles Woodson, who's in attendance. He, of course, retired this offseason from the Oakland Raiders, so why not come visit Ann Arbor for week 1? He is here, Derek Jeter is here, and Michael Jordan as well. Lamar Woodley also notably in attendance for this opener against Hawaii. And the response you'd expect from this fan base whenever a Heisman Trophy winner returns to his alma mater. Michigan starting this drive at the 2-yard line. Didn't get to see a lot, obviously, on their opening possession, which was one play and an interception. But surprised at all here that Michigan's going to, would you expect to see Michigan throw it out of their own end zone after the start they just had?
No, I would expect to see Davion Smith get the ball on the ground, try and push it through this Hawaii defensive front. The Michigan offensive line equally as formidable as that defensive front. Not quite the same amount of depth on the offensive line. Maybe a question mark or two will prevail there throughout the season. But again, they're going to look to bully down in the trenches and open up some space here with Michigan starting in the shadow of their own end zone.
And it's something we saw last year as well. The first game of the year a season ago was not the ideal start for Jake Rudock. He had 3 interceptions in that game. Spate starting his first pass of the season as a starter, an interception. But snapping this one from his own 2-yard line, an interception here, and you'd almost certainly expect Hawaii to come away with points, despite how well this defense has played through 2 possessions. Back underway here, Michigan going left to right. Amara Darbo out wide to the right. I formation. Spate hands it off to Davion Smith, running right back up the middle, who will keep the legs churning and get it across the 5-yard line all the way to the Michigan 8-yard line on that 6-yard pickup on first down.
Exactly as mentioned, I added it up yesterday. This Michigan offensive front with the starters holding about a 10-pound average advantage in weight over the Hawaii defensive front. Those Wolverines offensive linemen going to be able to bully forward as well as they can and try and open up the run game for Davion Smith.
2 tight ends set here on 2nd and 4 from the 8-yard line. The handoff is to Smith, breaks one tackler, but is wrapped up on the second attempt. Jelani Tavai moved to middle linebacker, previously an outside linebacker for Hawaii, and he dropped Smith there for a 2-yard loss, setting up a 3rd and 6.
The total breakdown on the offensive line, that weak side gave in, and Hawaii just bum rushed that left-hand side of the Michigan offensive front, able to get home on Davion Smith.
Almost certainly a passing down here. Likely Spate's 2nd passing attempt of the game. 2 receivers out wide to the right, 1 to the left. Jake Butt in motion from left to right. The shotgun snap is to Spate. He fires a quick slant route. The catch is made by J.U. Chesson, and he hauls it in for a first down, first completion of the season for the Michigan Wolverines. Good for 14 yards all the way down to the Michigan 21-yard line. Jamal Mayo on the coverage.
A perfectly designed play. J.U. Chesson, widely regarded as one of the best route runners in all of college football, able to put that small slant route in there, and Michigan finds themselves with a little bit of breathing room here at their own 21.
Wolverines quickly breaking the huddle. Under center is Spate. Davion Smith in the backfield. 2 receivers up top. Now the motion man is Chesson. It's a handoff to Chesson. He gets across the 30, across the 35-yard line, stripped up there, but not before picking up 12 yards on the first down wide receiver handoff.
Wonderful jet sweep there by Chesson, determined to get this Wolverines offense out of their own territory. Within 2 plays, has moved them from the 2-yard line to the 36.
He was battling lower body injuries all summer, so it's good to see him getting the handoff and running easily. Here the first down give is to Smith, wrapped up after a 2-yard pickup. Not a good block anywhere for him on that right side. Corey Rasmussen in there quickly.
Michigan will continue to test the waters with Davion Smith. He is, by all terms, a power back. Will continue to move those legs and push forward and try and open up some room for that passing game. Wilton Spate eager to get his arm back into it after a poor first attempt in the game.
Hill in at fullback. Davion Smith motions out from the backfield to the right wide receiver spot. He will run a route here, and the throw quickly out in the direction of Hill. Miscommunication. He threw that ball somewhere between Hill and Smith, who was sprinting down the sideline going deep. Simply falls to the turf. Malachi Mongeo, the outside linebacker for Hawaii, was the closest player to that football.
Bit of miscommunication. It looked like perhaps Smith was supposed to cut back on that route. Would have been open had he done so.
3rd and 7 from the Michigan 39-yard line. Spate in the shotgun, Ty Isaac to his left for the first time in this game. Looking for the screen, gets it to Darbo. Blocks outside, Darbo heading towards the sideline. He's got nothing but blockers across midfield, across the 35, across the 30, where he's finally shoved out of bounds. Great play design, and even better block. Grant Newsome, the left tackle, got out there to set up a block for the wide receiver. No flags on the field. And Michigan moving the chains, the biggest pickup so far in this game.
Not a great throw by Spade. It was a bit high. It took time for Chesson to come down with it, or Darbo to come down with it. Had to turn back around, was able to beat out 3 Hawaii defenders on that far left flat, got to the outside, and a nice chunk of yards for the Wolverines.
The 31-yard connection sets up the ball on the Hawaii 30. The first down give is to Isaac. Isaac gets through the first wave of tacklers, but is brought down after picking up only 2 yards as a helmet comes flying up at the top. Henry Poggi losing his helmet, so he'll have to come out for one play. It'll be 2nd and 8 from the Hawaii 28-yard line for Michigan, looking for the first score in this game with 9 minutes to go in their first quarter.
Ty Isaac, another halfback for the Wolverines, looking to get his name into the conversation at the running back position. Definitely doesn't carry the same weight as Davion Smith, but speedy and tricky in the backfield.
Isaac back in there for second down. Fake give is to Isaac. Wilton Spate all the time in the world, firing one over the middle. The catch is made by J.U. Chesson. A big pickup once again. Abusing Jamal Mayo gets down to the 8-yard line. First and goal coming up from the Maize and Blue. Those slant routes to the middle of the field have been wide open so far in this game.
I was just about to say that, Leo. The Wolverines really utilizing that slant route here. It looks as though that is where Spate has been most comfortable with the throws as well, right over the middle.
First and goal from the 8-yard line. Michigan looking to punch it in for the first time this year. Mo Ways to the right of Spate. Chesson in motion. The give is to Chesson. He's looking for the end around. No room. Great penetration. He's brought down by the back of the jersey. Great tackle made there by Jeremiah Pritchard.
Good job by Pritchard to not take the bait, as the Wolverines had the fake handoff on the other end as well. But Michigan on this drive still pounding the ball. They started at the 2-yard line. Interesting note here, the Bowling Green Ohio State game, Bowling Green up 7-6 with 10 minutes left still in the first quarter. Keep an eye on that game throughout the afternoon.
Offset eye here, Khalid Hill to the right. It'll be a passing play, though. Spate drops back all the time, floats it to the back left corner of the end zone. Grant Perry brings it in. Touchdown, Michigan, the first of the season. And the offense is off and running here. Wilton Spate finds the sophomore. Grant Perry his second touchdown in his second straight game for the Brother Rice product.
Grant Perry, a receiver who had a fair amount of trouble early last season, finding his niche in this Wolverines offense, but early on here, a well-run route and a perfectly weighted pass from Wilton Spate to the back corner of the end zone. Perry just had to look over the shoulder, and it was right in the breadbasket for Michigan's first touchdown of the year.
Great touch on the throw by Spate, as Grant Perry had Damian Packard beat by a step or two. Kenny Allen will attempt the PAT. Kick is up, and it is right down the middle. 7-0 the start to this game with 7:29 left to go in the first quarter. It's Michigan, the 7th-ranked team in the nation, on top of the visitors from Hawaii. You're listening to the Michigan Football Student Radio Network, WCBN FM.
After the awkward first attempt out there for the Wolverines, which resulted in the interception for Spade on the first play on offense of the season, the Wolverines able to get another 3-and-out on defense. Started at their own 2-yard line and went 98 yards for the score.
As they will now welcome back the former interim athletic director, of course, Gordon Manuel, taking over back in April or March when he was first introduced. They welcome Jim Hackett back, and he gets a well-deserved standing ovation from this fan base, which has been through a lot in their previous 2 athletic directors.
Jim Hackett, the man really behind a lot of this hype here today with the new unveil and new action play in the Jordan here, really organized that Nike deal. Got Michigan their brand new apparel contract, switching over from Adidas to the Nike brand.
Even earning the fist pump of approval from Jim Harbaugh in his direction as well. Certainly a beloved figure after a prior athletic director who at this point would be infamous around these parts. Michigan will kick things off, the wind at the back of Kenny Allen. Still waiting to get out of these dreaded television timeouts.
Interesting note in the kicking game. This is a game that features both Kenny Allen and Rigoberto Sanchez, 2 kickers who are probably the only 2 in the country that are going to be handling.
So last year, glad you brought that up. Last year, Rigoberto Sanchez was 1 of 4. So certainly not something you expect to see much at this level. I know Michigan has emphasized they'd like to see Quinn Norden move in and take over some of those responsibilities. Andrew David transferred out of the program in fall camp to TCU. So Quinn Norden, who was the top-ranked kicker in the nation, he's a true freshman. He may be a redshirt candidate, but I think Michigan would like to see him attempt maybe some of the longer field goals and perhaps come in and be a guy doing the kickoff duty. But for now, it'll be Kenny Allen doing everything. After the fabulous season Blake O'Neill had a year ago, punting, such a strong suit last season, it'll be interesting to see how Kenny Allen handles it. We know one thing's for sure, he has a super leg.
And you would expect to see Quinn Norden at some point this season, one of the highest kicking recruits in recent memory, the #1 kicker in the country, according to just about every recruiting source last season for the Wolverines. So does have a power leg, able to knock down field goals 50 yards and in with relative ease.
back underway here. Kenny Allen kicking left to right. Michigan on top 7-0 with 7:29 left to go in the first quarter. Back deep to return Paul Harris and Kalen Hicks. This one a high kickoff. Harris will field it at his goal line, and he will bring this one out. Gets across the 15, across the 20-yard line, and that's where he has stood up. A gang of Michigan tacklers bring him down, and Hawaii would have much rather had the touchback there. They will start this drive at their own 20-yard line, down 7-0.
Hawaii has not reached positive yardage yet this afternoon in their 2 previous 3-and-out drives. Right now standing at -3 in the rushing column. No passes completed yet, 0 yards there. Michigan, meanwhile, 18 in the rush category, 80 in the pass for 98 total yards on that last drive.
2 receivers split out wide to the left for this 1st and 10 from the 20. Diosami St. Just back in at running back to the left of Ikaika Woolsey with 1 receiver to his right. Tight end just off the left side of the offensive line. The give is to St. Just on 1st down, gets through a couple tacklers. Mike McCray finally tripped him up, but he picked up 4 yards, positive yardage, something that Hawaii desperately needed, and they get some there.
Interesting note to watch on that play. It was Jeremy Clark out wide to the left for the Wolverines, and he did bite in on that fake there. Would have been an open pass for the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors had it been a pass play. Something to watch in single coverage out on either side for the Wolverines here.
Dylan Colley and Marcus Kemp stacked to the right side. Amen Barker out wide to the left for Woolsey, who has Paul Harris making his first appearance at running back in this game. In the shotgun, Woolsey takes the snap, fires out to the right side. Stribling made a great jump on the ball, but somehow Dylan Colley brought that in. Positive pickup there, 3 yards. Not the best throw, but a great play on the ball made by that slot receiver, the sophomore from El Dorado Hills. Transferred in from BYU. There's a couple guys who have served Mormon missions on this Hawaii side. Always an advantage having guys who are older. As a sophomore, you'd expect him to be around 23 or 24. Certainly an experience advantage physically for some of these Hawaii players.
Something pretty common for schools like Hawaii, Utah, and Brigham Young.
3rd and 2 from the Hawaii 28. Woolsey in the shotgun. Running back to his right, 3 receivers out wide to the left. Does not get the snap off in time. That play clock was running down, the 2nd delay of game so far in this one.
And that's got to fall on the offensive line there for the Rainbow Warriors. Ikaika Woolsey was slapping his hands profusely trying to get that snap off.
And they will give the timeout, the bailout timeout, if you will, to Hawaii. So stoppage on the field prior, they're going to say, to that flag coming out. Give the referees credit, though. They were right on it. The flags came out immediately upon the clock striking 0. So with 5:54 left to go in the first quarter, it's Michigan 7, Hawaii nothing.
Couldn't tell if that timeout was called by Hawaii head coach Nick Rolovich or if it came from someone on the field.
Nick Rolovich, his first season, 2nd game ever leading the Rainbow Warriors. He has a lot of Hawaii ties. He's the 5th youngest coach in the FBS. He was the former Hawaii offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach between 2008 and 2011.
Arguably one of the best quarterbacks in Hawaii history, a Hawaii football program that in the past has seen a lot of quarterbacks adjust through that air raid attack. I believe it was Colt Brennan who used to throw on average for 500, 600 yards a game with these Hawaii offenses. Rolovich, one of the earliest of those back in the late 90s, early 2000s on the Rainbow Warriors.
He was the offensive coordinator most recently at Nevada, Cody Fajardo, a guy he had tremendous success with as an offensive coordinator and a quarterback coach, and 2 former college quarterbacks battling against each other. Obviously, never played against each other. Rolovich significantly younger than Jim Harbaugh, but you would know it based on both their energy on the side.
And the most popular big man on the field right now, former Michigan Wolverine defensive end Lamar Woodley, now down in the end zone, as this has been a game so far for the Wolverines as much about the pomp and circumstance of the new Michigan era, as some would call it, as it has been about the game on the field.
What else would you expect from a Jim Harbaugh coach team but to have as much attention on things on the sideline as on the field, especially in these early season games? He's as much an entertainer as a great football coach.
I'm just waiting to see the nature boy Ric Flair come out onto the field and lead the student section.
Wouldn't bet against it. would not bet against that happening.
He's not been named an honorary captain yet, along with the likes of Hank Aaron and Tom Brady. But
Tom Brady will be week 3.
Because he's not playing football for the Patriots, obviously.
Week 2, I know, is Bobby Kotick, a video game guy. I believe he was the creator of Call of Duty, and a Michigan alum.
Interesting.
So either they're expecting a big check from him or they've already received one from the Week 2 captain next week against UCF, which you can, of course, listen to on WCBN FM Ann Arbor, on our new website, WCBNsports.org. Leo Blavin and Jeremy Parks high atop the broadcast booth. 3rd and 2 from the Hawaii 28-yard line. Makoa Stevens and Ahmed Barker split out wide to the left. Dylan Colley and Marcus Kemp out wide to the right. Ikaika Woolsey in the shotgun here. Steven Laka in at tailback to his right. Kemp comes in motion now, trips receivers to the left. Colley alone to the right of Woolsey. Takes the 3rd and 2 snap. Under pressure, he will be brought down. A big hit made, and the flag comes out late. Holding is the call you'd expect. Ben Gedeon in there for the sack. But we will check on that flag.
Offense, number 65. Penalties decline.
Also, Tui Ali allowed only 4 sacks last year. He didn't allow a sack there because he brought his man down with a tackle. The penalty, of course, declined. Rigoberto Sanchez back deep to punt once again. This time lined up his own 5-yard line. Jabril Peppers at his own 30. We would love to see him get an opportunity and return one here. The most electric player in the country back deep with lots of green grass in front of him. A low line drive kick. He can return this one again if he wants it. Fields it at his own 28. Dashing towards midfield. Makes one cut upfield. Breaks a few tackles. Gets across the 40. Needs a block down the left sideline. Hurdles the punter and lands out of bounds. 2 flags coming out late. Perhaps a block in the back. We will see an electric return with those 2 flags likely to bring it back. And I believe hurdling a penalty as well. But we will see what the referees say. I don't believe they're allowed to jump a player. Can't wait to hear what the call is, if that is indeed a penalty as I anticipate it to be. But he hurdled a guy there as electric.
Return. Legal block in the back. Return team, number 34. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
So both flags catching Jeremy Clark in the act there.
How about that hurdle?
He's an athletic freak. Everybody knows it. And if you needed proof, check out SportsCenter tonight. Shame it was called back, but and he stepped out of bounds. A good 10 yards short of that hurdle, but just for good measure.
Back at Paramus Catholic in New Jersey, Peppers was not only a football standout, but a track star as well. Don't think he ran the hurdles, but it looks like that he darn well could have.
With how important he is to the defense, I'm assuming Jim Harbaugh probably goes over him and says, maybe don't hurdle guys standing fully upright. Don't need you injured against Hawaii. 1st and 10 for the Wolverines from their own 32 after the block in the back penalty. Up 7-0 here with 5:10 left to go in the first quarter. The I formation, Smith dotting it, gets the handoff, cutting right up the middle, gets through the linebackers, gets through the secondary, and is brought down at the 45-yard line. A 14-yard pickup on 1st down for Davion Smith. An aggressive, violent runner and lead. When he has a hole in front of him, you know he's going to make defenders pay.
How about a little bit of beast mode shades there as Davion Smith cuts right up the middle. It took about 10 more yards after the initial contact as he broke through the line to finally bring him down to the ground. Wolverines nearing midfield.
Ty Isaac now dotting the I in. J.U. Chesson comes in motion from right to left to the right of Spate. The pitch is to Isaac running towards that right sideline. Has blocks in front of him. A good cut block by Poggi upfield, and Isaac picks up 12 yards, getting across midfield down to the 43-yard line. Jalen Rogers upends it.
Perhaps it took a few plays for this Michigan offensive line to get into the groove, but right now they're able to hold it bay for about as long as they would like on this Hawaii defensive line.
And the struggles of Henry Poggi last season were well documented. Him being unable at times transitioning from defense to offense to identify guys to block. He did a good job laying a block there, and it sprung the hole for Isaac to pick up 12 yards. Across midfield now, Michigan from the Hawaii 42. Wide open is J.U. Chesson on the designed rollout for Spate, and he leaps his way forward for a 6-yard pickup, Jamal Mayo. getting abused time and time again. Michigan's found a vulnerability in their secondary, and they've been exploiting it tremendously thus far.
Vulnerabilities in the secondary, vulnerabilities up front for the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors in Michigan, as well as any team in the country so far this season is going to take advantage.
Grant Perry and Chesson out wide to the left, Darbo out wide to the right. Davion Smith will simply take the handoff from the shotgun for Wilton Spate. The give picks up 3 yards. Michigan will have a 3rd and 1. Certainly 4-down territory if Michigan doesn't pick up the 1 yard on 3rd down, but you'd certainly expect with how well this offense has played run blocking wise so far that Michigan will have no trouble here.
And this is why all summer long Jim Harbaugh has been having that Michigan offensive line hit the sleds, get that powerful kick start on the offensive front to push that defensive line forward.
And a freshman that some people weren't expecting to see much of, Chris Evans, who had rave reviews in camp. We weren't sure if they were going to burn a red shirt today on him. They will do that. He's in dotting the I on 3rd down, and he will pick up a 1st down on his first carry, muscling his way across the 30 down to the 27-yard line. A good positive run for the freshman, known more for his speed, but they use him there to pick up the short yardage gain and move the chains for Michigan.
Chris Evans, the 5'11", 200-pound freshman out of Indianapolis, Indiana, didn't really have to do a whole lot there. That offensive front able to push forward for him, and he just had to follow the blocks as the Wolverines pick up the 1st down and then some.
And he caught my eye, Ben Davis, last year playing against a quarterback of Michigan's future in a high school game last year, and he was the guy who stood out. He'll get the carry again here on 1st down. Tripped up at the line of scrimmage, but flips forward for positive yardage down to the 21.
And, of course, the quarterback you're talking about, Brandon Peters out of Avon, Indiana.
Avon, the powerhouse program at the time. Ben Davis, not the powerhouse, but Evans certainly stood out in that game against fierce opposition. He'll get the carry again on 2nd down, trying to bust to the outside, just no running room, but he makes the most out of it. Down to the 20-yard line, a pickup of 3 downs. It's a 3rd and 2.
Well, if they're going to burn the red shirt, they might as well continue to hand the ball to Evans 3 plays in a row with him taking it out of the backfield.
Worth noting, Kareem Walker not dressed for this game. We haven't seen him in the stadium. There were questions that he might be suspended after he failed to appear in the team photo. So certainly Michigan, with how they're recruiting, they're going to need to burn some red shirts on extremely talented guys, and if they can contribute right away, Harbaugh has shown he's not afraid to use them, even as true freshmen, as we saw with Grant Perry a season ago. Isaac in for the 3rd down, gets a good block and a easy route to Jake Butt across the 10, the 5, reaching for the pylon in the right front corner. He's in. Touchdown, Michigan. Jake Butt and Wilton Spate. The 2nd throwing touchdown of the game, the 1st for the best tight end in the nation, Jake Butt, as he extended his body the length of the field into the end zone. Touchdown.
The Michigan co-captain muscling that shoulder to the outside as he fought the sideline, able to grab the pylon and give Michigan a 2-score lead.
And Jake Butt came across the middle of the field, flashing wide open, and there was no way that would separate him from that pylon until he reaches his full extension, hitting the pylon.
But for a tight end, some of the softest hands of any ball receiver in all of college football. Just makes it look effortless out there for the Wolverines. Perfectly run route, good throw by Spate, and another Michigan touchdown.
His first reception of the season is 19 yards and a touchdown after having 3 touchdowns a season ago. Allen attempts the PAT. It is up and it is good. And with 1:25 left to go in the first quarter, Michigan takes a 14-0 lead on the Michigan Football Student Radio Network, WCDN FM Ann Arbor. Jeremy, after a nightmarish start for Wilton Spate, his first snap, he throws an interception. This offense is really responding.
And I think the prime example that Michigan fans would like to look at last year, Jake Rudock, coming out of a heated quarterback battle with Shane Morris in the offseason, was able to develop as a quarterback, had a rocky start per se, was able to find his groove, able to get back into the game, and now looking potentially like the number 2 quarterback in the NFL for the Detroit Lions, with a lot of work done by Jim Harbaugh, known as a quarterback developer. And no surprise that Wilton Spate, with a few words from Jim Harbaugh, able to get back into this game, starting to throw extremely well. He's looking very accurate since that first throw. And the Michigan Wolverines are now on cruise control, headed into the end of the first quarter, up 14-0.
Kenny Allen gets set to kick things back off. Again, Michigan operating left to right in the first quarter, 1:25 to play here in the opening quarter of this Michigan football season. the 7th-ranked Wolverines on top of the Hawai'i Rainbow Warriors, 14-0. Allen boots this one again, will be fielded by Harris at the 1-yard deep mark in the end zone. He gets across the 20, spins across the 25, and he's brought down right on top of that Big Ten logo at the 26-yard line.
Interesting score down in Columbus. Bowling Green tied 7-7 with the Ohio State Buckeyes after a pick six for Bowling Green off the arm of J.T. Barrett. Gave them a 7-0 lead to open the game, but Ohio State has come back to tie it up.
I'll just say with that game, let me know what the score is in the fourth quarter.
We'll keep an eye on it. We will keep an eye on it.
Ikaika Woolsey back in. He's struggled thus far in this game. Just one completion for 4 yards. -3 is the total yardage by Hawaii's offense through their first 3 drives. St. Just gets the handoff on first down, running to the right. Needs a blocker, and he does not get one. Jabril Peppers in there once again, drops it for a 5-yard loss, making his case early on that he is the best defensive player in the country, and it'd be hard to find people who will debate that, especially in these parts.
A man amongst boys out there. Jabril Peppers fought through a block on his backside and able to just power through. Not quite sure who that was, hanging onto his back as he was able to fight through the line and blow that play up in the backfield. But again, the most electric player in all of college football. I will agree with you on that, Leo.
Rashawn Gary making his appearance on the left end of this defensive line. He will come into blitz, but the other side is there to drop him for a sack. Mike McCray came off the outside linebacker position, found the weak side, exploited it, and he busted through untouched to bring down Woolsey. Michigan's 2nd sack of the game.
6'4", 248 pounds, but agile as can be, the redshirt junior Mike McCray. Blowing it up in the backfield again. This Don Brown defense is not afraid to send it home. And the Wolverines are getting there.
And that sack will send us to the second quarter. At the end of one, it's Michigan 14, Hawaii nothing. You're listening to Michigan Football Student Radio Network, WCBN FM Ann Arbor. I'm Leo Blavin. Joining me up high atop the Michigan Stadium booth, Jeremy Parks and Morris Fabry. Jeremy, first quarter impressions. The defense outstanding. The offense responding from adversity early on.
Well, I'll bring up something that we talked about earlier this week on our weekly show, the Daily Sports Report. You can hear that.
Daily show.
The Daily Sports
As the name would imply.
During the summer, Monday and Thursday, 5:30 to 6:30, we had Michigan's most winning women's basketball player of all time, Madison Rostovsky, on the show the other day. Talked to her about what it was like as a Michigan athlete to really come into an opening game, and she was kind of on the opposite side of most of us, saying that Hawaii would be a cupcake game for Michigan. It would be right out the gates, opening up with a lot of power and force. And Madison Rostovsky said, it's normally that first game in which you as an athlete are thinking the same thing, but that's where you start to make the mistakes. And she said most of her career starts, the first game was actually the worst game they played all season, showed them where they could improve over the course of the season. And I think with Michigan, you saw that from the first throw to, after that 3-and-out, the next drive started. And ever since then, it's been no looking in the rear view for the Wolverines. Wilton Spate has been able to guide this offense down the field twice now. And the Wolverines looking like they're in good shape.
What have you seen from the defense? They have been nothing but unstoppable for this offensive line of Hawaii. What's made them so effective, though? What have you seen from Don Brown in his first game as the defensive coordinator that's different from a year ago?
Well, we know that Don Brown is an extremely blitz-heavy defensive coordinator. He's going to send 80-20% of his plays. He's going to send the house. It's a matter of whether or not those get home, and I think he took a team in Boston College last year, not even with the same level of talent that you see here at the University of Michigan, and now that he has such a deep tool set at his disposal, we're seeing him send through the gaps just about every single play. These Michigan defenders have been practicing all offseason on how they're going to hit those gaps, A, B, and C, find the hole, beat their man, and get home. And we've seen it on just about every single defensive play, Leo, whether that's on the left or right side or coming in at both angles. This Michigan defense has just looked downright mean in the first quarter.
How great is it to have college football back? It's the longest offseason of anticipation I can remember. I can remember many off seasons recently of dread. This year, so much different, so much optimism. The student section as packed as I've seen it in my 4 years here, and we're into this game.
I woke up this morning about 8 o'clock to the sound of the marching band practicing the victors down at Elval Field. Went downstairs, made some pancakes, threw on College Game Day, listened to Reese Davis, Lee Corso, Kirk Herbstreit.
The gang.
You knew it was back. Desmond Howard. You knew that college football was in the air. Walking outside, getting in your car to ride up here, you could just see it.
Everything about today is better. The air just smells better. Everything.
You're happy. Downright giddy.
And right now, Don Brown and this Michigan sideline giddy about this defense. Hawai'i now, so far in this game, negative 17 total yards, negative 21 on the ground. That one completion from Woolsey picked up 4 yards. But outside of that, it's been tough sledding for the visitors from Honolulu as Michigan sets up to defend this 3rd and 24. Hawai'i on their own 11-yard line. Ikaika Woolsey will be in the shotgun, as he has been all game. The Awesome St. Just to his left, 2 receivers to the left of Woolsey and to his right.
We know that Hawai'i is not the toughest competition Michigan will face this season, but you've got to admit that Don Brown, in this starting defensive coordinator, has proven his worth already in gold. With Michigan holding Hawai'i to negative 17 total yards as they begin this drive.
Michigan only rushing 4. The handoff is to St. Just, and he'll pick up maybe a yard on the 3rd down carry. That's waving the white flag for Hawai'i. You can't blame them where they are on that end of the field. A turnover would have been disastrous. But once again, Jabril Peppers will get his opportunity to return one. Taco Charlton in there to get that tackle. And Ben Gedeon in as well, a guy whose name I've called now twice. He's looked good early on. Linebacker, the big question mark for this defense. I think that question's been answered, at least for this opponent.
Michigan only needing to rush 4. Hawai'i continuing to try to put the ball on the ground. Negative 20 total rush yards now on the game for the Rainbow Warriors.
Sanchez in his own end zone, boots this one away, a much higher one. Peppers does not field for the fair catch, fields it at his own 38-yard line, gets across midfield, and will just pick up 2 after that. He was wrapped up, not a lot of room to work with, but he still picks up positive yardage on the return, and Michigan will take over in Hawai'i territory.
No matter
at the Hawai'i 48-yard line.
No matter how small the window seems, when Jabril Peppers is back to return a punt we saw it last season, you could have defenders breathing down his neck, but he still finds a way to make 1 juke or 2 and get himself even 3 or 4 more yards. It's just incredible athleticism, and that's why he is your early candidate for the Heisman Trophy on this Michigan Wolverines team.
Khalid Hill to the right of the offset eye, Ty Isaac in the backfield. Quick screen pass out to Amara Darbo. Darbo picks up 6 yards, couldn't get the clean stiff arm. Brought down by Maya. We saw Cal last week against this Hawai'i team have tremendous success with the screen pass. Not surprised, are you, to see Michigan going with it early on?
Not at all, and I think that's a play that Jim Harbaugh likes to keep stapled in the playbook no matter what team Michigan is playing. Consistently effective both last season and early on today.
The pitches to Isaac running to the right side, gets across the first wave of defenders, needed to break 1 tackle, and he had a lot of space in front of him, but he's dragged down from behind. Good tackle made there for Hawai'i by Solomon Matuia.
And that's the speed that Ty Isaac brings in the backfield that Davion Smith doesn't necessarily pack. If the Wolverines are able to get Green, give him space and blocks, Ty Isaac is going to be able to burn defenses a lot quicker than Davion Smith, who is much more of a bowling ball power runner.
Speaking of bowling ball, Khalid Hill at 6'2", 263. Certainly a change from the fullbacks a year ago. He will lead the way for Davion Smith right up the middle on 1st down, picks up 5 yards with ease. Michigan getting 5 yards anytime they want it, running it right up the gut.
And the fullbacks, one of the few coaches in the country that you will see that is a fan of using the fullback in the offense. No coach more known for that than Jim Harbaugh. Really utilized, especially Joe Carriage last year in that fullback position, to great effect as Michigan would punch in on short lines all the time.
And a convert from tight end. Hill could be a factor in the passing game as well. Jake Butt moving in motion to the left. A lot of room for Ty Isaac running across the 30, across the 20. Correction, Chris Evans back there, the freshman, with space, showing you his speed. Jalen Rogers brought him down, but not before picking up a massive gain on 2nd down.
Well, they decided to burn the red shirt on Chris Evans, and with just a few carries, that his 4th, he's already up to 36 yards.
21 yards on that attempt. Wilton Spate in there with Pogge to his right, and Evans to his left. Jake Butt in motion from left to right will line up on the right side of the offensive line. Mo weighs out wide to the left. The give is to Evans, needs a block, breaks through 1 wave of tacklers, and picks up 5 yards. Ben Bredesen The true freshman in there trying to lead the way. Stumbled with Evans, but Evans still picking up positive yardage on the first down carry as he heads to the sideline. Karan Higdon in now as the running.
Higdon, a running back that Wolverines fans saw a sample size of last season, but appeared to have a good burst of speed out of the backfield. And if this Michigan front can get him a gap, might be able to march into the end zone from the 5.
2 tight end set. The fake give to Higdon. Wide open in the back of the end zone. Amara Darbo. Touchdown, Michigan. And it's an absolute play-calling clinic for the Wolverines early on. Darbo stutter step, wasn't sure where the end line was. Comfortably inbounds. No one within 5 yards of him, and that's about as easy a throw as Spate will have to make all season, and it comes with 6 points.
And that's the perk of this Michigan running game, being able to run rampant over this Hawaii defense. Tempted by the fake handoff to Higdon, he was able to just squirt in through that secondary like dangling a steak in front of a dog, then going around back. As it's confused, Michigan gets a touchdown.
Kenny Allen attempts the PAT. It is up, and it is true. With 11:21 left to go in the second quarter on the Michigan Football Student Radio Network, Michigan on top of Hawaii, 21-0. This offense absolutely unstoppable after that first interception. 209 total yards now, 111 yards coming through the air so far in this game. Spate to Darbo for 5 yards and a touchdown on the most recent score.
And to a degree, Michigan fans would have expected this game to go so smoothly, but after the opening gaffe, I should say, with the interception by Spate, it's been nothing but smooth sailing ever since as Michigan continues to roll, both on offense and defense, in the air and on the ground. Absolute dominance.
I think many were skeptical, myself included, when coming into fall camp, Harbaugh said that Amara Darbo was the most impressive receiver on this team. Perhaps a bit of a challenge for a rehabbing J.U. Chesson, but certainly it's an embarrassment of riches. Now 3 passing touchdowns, 3 different receivers, Jake Butt, Grant Perry, and Darbo. You know Chesson's going to want to get in on the action at some point in this game. No trouble, though, through the air or on the ground. But one thing that is a concern, just spotted this, Davion Smith, it appears, heading to the locker room. He does not have his helmet with him, so perhaps his day is done given the scoreline. But whenever a guy heads to the locker room and doesn't bring his helmet with him, it's not a good sign.
Appears to be putting a bit of a ginger step on one of his legs as he goes over. Just a bit of a ginger walk. But in the receiving game, J.U. Chesson and Amara Darbo really competing at that 1-2 spot in terms of go-to receivers for the Wolverines. They're about as even as can be right now. Chesson, 3 receptions for 43 yards. Darbo, 3 receptions for 42 yards. Only difference, Darbo with that touchdown. Chesson waiting to get into the end zone.
Back inside Michigan Stadium, Michigan on top 21-0, 11:21 left to go here. In the second quarter, the 7th-ranked Wolverines on top of the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. Leo Lavin alongside me is Jeremy Parks. Jeremy, this defense heads back out, and they've held Hawaii absolutely stagnant on offense. Negative 16 yards total for the Rainbow Warriors. Is there anything they can do to perhaps start picking up positive yardage?
Hawaii really, they can't get the ball out of the backfield when they put it on the ground, and that's been the problem. We've seen how effective it's been for Michigan to be able to have backs that can get to open space, start to pull that defense in a bit, and then open up the passing game. Hawaii is trying to do what they can to get some openings for Kaika Woolsey, but that Michigan secondary has been locked down enough that he's unable to find any of his receivers. That leaves them to put the ball on the ground where they've been absolutely speechless, just bum rushed by this Michigan defense every time they hand the ball off.
Michigan, we haven't called any of the superstar names yet. Mike McCray and Ben Getty and the 2 sacks coming from the linebacker. Not something that we didn't expect to see, though, with this Don Brown defense, which, as you mentioned, super blitz happy. They call him the doctor of the blitz, Doc Brown. Comes over from Boston College, where he led one of the perennial best defenses in the country. The problem there is, A, the lack of talent, and B, an offense that was
the worst offense
dead
in the
last
country
in the
last
country.
season.
Kenny Allen will get set to kick this one away. Right to left is where the Michigan offense has been operating. Hawaii operating left to right, and they will field this one heading towards our right here on the Michigan side. Harris fields this one about 5 yards deep and simply kneels it down. So Hawaii will start this drive from their own 25-yard line.
Hawaii needs a play of some kind of positive yards to get a little bit of confidence back into this offense. It's just been a meek and sheltered performance on offense for Hawaii, as Michigan has just been ruthless defensively. 214 yards for the Wolverines, negative 16 total for the Rainbow Warriors. Just
Hawaii
one completed pass.
Still seeking their first down of this game with 11:21 left in the second quarter. Michigan on top, 21-0. Ikaika Woolsey back in there with St. Just to his right in the shotgun. Two tight ends both in motion from left to right. Lying in the right side of that offensive line, two receivers split out wide to the right. And before the snap, it'll be a false start. Dakota Torres, the tight end, just shadowing the right tackle, R.J. Hollis.
Offense, number 86, 5-yard penalty, first down.
And that is not the way to start an offensive drive for a team that, as you mentioned, has negative 16 yards of production so far with the ball in their hands. Same formation here. The tight ends, just as they did a moment ago, coming in motion from left to right. The two receivers split out wide to the right. They hand off to St. Just, running up the middle. Finally, positive yardage, gets those 5 yards back that they lost on the false start. Ben Gedeon in there for the tackle.
And a great push by the Hawaii front on the Michigan defensive line, able to open up just enough space for the running game to get some kind of positive yardage, trying to crawl out of the negative hole they've been in. But this Michigan defense, one that last year was the only team in the country to have 3 shutouts on the schedule, each of those coming consecutively, still looking to put up a goose egg on the board with the Rainbow Warriors.
2nd and 10 from the 25. Woolsey in the shotgun. 2 out wide to the right, 1 to the left. Takes the give to St. Just. Drops back, looking to throw. It's intercepted. Delano Hill across the 10. No one in front of him. Touchdown, Michigan. Pick 6 for Delano Hill.
Delano Hill reading the eyes of Ikaika Woolsey to perfection as he just picks that pass off, had nothing but 20 yards of open space in front of him as he trots into the end zone to the delight of the Wolverine faithful here at Michigan Stadium. Now a 4-score game, soon to be 28-0 Michigan.
Delano Hill from the safety position, reading the eyes of Hill. I believe a bench warning was issued there. No penalty. After the celebration funneled some players from the sideline to the end zone where Hill celebrated his pick 6. The PAT is up and it is through. Michigan on top, 28-0 here with 10:36 still to play in the second quarter. This is about the scoreline we expected for Michigan, and the defense getting in on the action after a season ago. Wolverines, not the best in terms of turnovers. It's good to see a pick 6 and, more importantly, just a pick from Michigan, forcing the turnovers early on. Last year, they lost 16 turnovers and only gained 12. Michigan certainly would like to be improved this year in terms of their turnover differential.
And it was interesting for one of the most stringent defenses in the country through the mid part of the season, as you mentioned, a defense that was unable to produce those turnovers. But you look right now at the stat line, Ikaika Woolsey, the quarterback for Hawaii, 1 for 5, just 4 yards and an interception. A passer rating of negative 13. I can't remember the last time I have seen a negative passer rating with a full quarter and a half.
I got to be honest, I didn't know that was possible.
I didn't think it was either, to be entirely honest. Negative 13.3 as opposed to Wilton Spate, 256.4. Spate, 8 for 10, 116 yards, 3 touchdowns and an interception. There's still 10 minutes left here in the first half.
We expected to see John O'Korn in this game, but it could come before halftime. Although, as we saw in the bowl game, Brandon, it was trying to get Jay Rudock doing more professional-type plays. Harbaugh keeping his mind on some of those players. It worked out. Rudock getting some of those pro throws in there helped get him picked. And as you mentioned, he's likely going to be on the active 46-man roster each and every game day, backing up Matt Stafford just down the road in Detroit.
And a quarterback who going into last season was really a relative unknown by pretty much anybody in the college football world, was then turned into, now as you mentioned, a potential backup starting quarterback in the NFL in his first season.
And Iowa let him transfer. They decided we were going to go with C.J. Beathard. Obviously, it worked out for both parties. Iowa going undefeated in the regular season last year with Beathard, but Yeah, this was a guy that Iowa didn't want, and Harbaugh turned him into an NFL draft pick, and now an NFL backup quarterback in just his rookie year. And he arguably, outside of Dak Prescott, has been the best-looking rookie in the preseason. Kenny Allen getting set to kick this one right to left. Michigan on top, 10:36 left to go here in the second quarter. The Wolverines leading it over Hawaii 28-0. Leo Blavin up here high atop the Michigan press box next to me, Jeremy Parks, Lawrence Dabry, our spotter here in the first half of the 137th season of Michigan football. Allen gets the signal from the official and is ready to boot this one from the left hash marks. This one a low line drive kick that'll be fielded by the end zone for the touchback.
Unrelenting is the Wolverines, not even allowing Hawaii a chance to return the punts or kickoffs. There hasn't been a punt yet by the Wolverines, actually, as that offense has just been too darn good to give way to a Kenny Allen punt.
And perhaps the last remaining question mark coming into this game was, what does the punting situation look like? We may not get our answer in this game if Michigan's offense keeps rolling. Brian Monet now appears headed to the locker room as well, has his helmet in his hand, but he is gingerly walking off the field. So two players injured thus far in this game that we've noticed heading to the locker room, Davion Smith and now Brian Monet, who of course missed last season tearing his ACL. 1st and 10 from the Hawaii 25-yard line. Woolsey with two receivers out wide to the left, one to the right. St. Just to his left, and he will give it to St. Just on the delayed give on 1st down for a 2-yard pickup. Taco Charlton in there for the tackle.
First time we've called Taco Charlton's name so far today, one of the bigger names on that Michigan defense returning from last season. A lot of fan love for Taco as he was able to find his way into the backfield a decent amount last season. First tackle of the game today.
Marcus Kemp out wide to the right for Hawaii. Two receivers split out wide to the left. St. Justin at running back to the right of Woolsey. Woolsey takes the shotgun snap, looking to his left, now looking right, firing in the direction of Kemp, dribbling. Absolutely blanket coverage there. We have yet to see Jordan Lewis, so for whatever reason, again, we don't know. Michigan in the submarine during fall camp, so no injuries reported. He is in uniform. He does have his helmet. We have just not seen him on the field thus far in this game. And based on the scoreline, I wouldn't expect to see the All-American in there.
Nope. Stribling has done a good job out there on the flat as well. Didn't even use his hands really on that last pass attempt in coverage. Just kind of pushed his chest up onto the receiver and forced him out.
It's been Jeremy Clark and Channing Stribling, your cornerbacks throughout this game. 3rd and 8 from the 27 for Hawaii. Woolsey takes the shotgun snap. Quickly under pressure, the cornerback blitz from Peppers doesn't get home, and Woolsey dives forward. His knee touched, though, just at the marker, and based on the spot by the head linesman, he is a yard short. It is 4th down. Hawaii, you might as well go for it, down 28-0. It is on their half of the field, but at this point.
And that was the best play of the game on offense from Hawaii so far, the flush-out scramble by Woolsey.
Peppers came in off the corner, unabated to the quarterback. But
Just
Woolsey,
a bit behind. Came in a bit too far behind.
Hawaii not in formation yet, so they will likely use a timeout.
Head coach Nick Rolovich kind of twiddling his thumbs on the sideline, not sure if they're going to let the clock run out here.
No, they will use their second timeout of the half with 9:07 left to go in the first quarter. There's a timeout on the field. Michigan on top of Hawaii, 28-0. Decision time, 4th and 1 for Nick Rolovich. You're down 28-0. What's the point of not going for it?
Absolutely. 4th and 1. The only problem is that, Hawaii's been unable to produce positive yardage with the exception of 3 plays so far this game. And that Michigan Wolverines defense, if they are able to hold Hawaii to less than a yard, would have pretty solid field position in what has appeared to be almost a guaranteed touchdown every time they touch the ball on offense so far this afternoon.
Thus far in this game, let's update you on the stats. Michigan 214 yards, Hawaii -2. Michigan 98 on the ground, -6 total yards on the ground coming for Hawaii. 4 passing yards for the Rainbow Warriors, 116 for the Maize and Blue. 1 penalty against the Wolverines, 2 against Hawaii, both for 10 yards.
Give you a couple scores from around college football as well here this morning. The noon games, obviously 28-0 here in Ann Arbor, Michigan over Hawaii. Ohio State now beating Bowling Green 21-7. At the start of the second quarter in Columbus, the number 6 Buckeyes fighting off an early touchdown by the Bowling Green team. Oklahoma and Houston, a surprise scoreline. Houston Cougars up 13-10 on the Oklahoma Sooners midway through the second quarter. Down in Norman, Houston trying to do what they can to beat and upset the number 3 Oklahoma Sooners. That's it for the noon games in the top 25 later this afternoon. Little Big Ten action here with Rutgers taking on the Washington Huskies, ranked 14th in the country. One of those surprise rankings that I saw coming into this season. A lot of people very high on Washington headed into this college football season. A couple other big games here tonight. UCLA and Texas A&M at 3:30. LSU and Wisconsin live from Lambeau Field in Green Bay at 3:30. Georgia Bulldogs taking on the North Carolina Tar Heels at 5:30. USC and Alabama down in Tuscaloosa at 8 p.m. And then the big game to close out the night, the Clemson Tigers, number 2 in the nation, taking on a rival in the Auburn Tigers at 9 p.m.
Little ACC, SEC action. People have noted, though, this is far and away the best opening.
Without a doubt, the best opening weekend slate that in recent memory. I can't remember a weekend in my lifetime that has been this packed with games that are not cupcakes.
So they ended up reviewing that play. Hawaii was indeed short of the line to gain, but with that review, no timeout charged to Hawaii.
So it is still 4th and 1 for the Rainbow Warriors coming out of the TV timeout. Down 4 touchdowns, 28-0 with 9 minutes left here in the first half.
And they will run out their punter, so Jabril Peppers back deep to return. He will line up at his own 22-yard line. Rigoberto Sanchez lining up at his own 20. The fake certainly will be looked for by the Michigan special teams unit. Still waiting to get this game back underway.
Whoever the up back is for the Hawaii, back there with Rigoberto Sanchez, doesn't appear to be a speedster by any means. That is a large human being.
Sanchez fields the punt and simply boots this one away. Another great kick high and towards the right corner. Pepper signals for the fair catch and fields it at his own 19-yard line. That's where Michigan will take over. 81 yards separating them from the end line. 8:59 left to go in the first quarter. Michigan on top 28-0. Wilton Spate trots back out there. 3 touchdowns thus far in this game. 1 interception for the redshirt sophomore.
During this TV timeout, worth noting that the crowd is full.
On the kicking team.
A legal formation.
More than 4 players in the backfield. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay 4th down.
So they're going to have him re-kick, give Peppers another opportunity to return this one, rather than just tacking the 5 yards on to the end of the fair catch.
Sorry, did not see the flag on that play. Was under the impression we had gone to a short TV timeout. Another opportunity, though, for Jabril Peppers to show some flashes in the return game. Hawaii crawling back up close to positive yardage now. In total, -2 yards, -6 in the run game. A big chunk of that cut out by the quarterback scramble that got them to 4th and 1.
Meanwhile, for Michigan, all phases working extremely well, including the special teams unit thus far. Chris Partridge, of course, taking over for John Baxter, returned to USC. Partridge came from Paramus Catholic, was in charge of recruiting last year, now coaching the linebackers and the special teams unit. This is his first game as an assistant coach for Michigan. Full-time assistant coach, he, of course, coached in the bowl games. This punt from Sanchez out of bounds. No chance for Peppers to field it. Based on the spot, it landed out of bounds at the 34-yard line. So
a difference of 14 yards between the first and second punt there. Disappointing for the Rainbow Warriors on special teams.
Michigan now takes over after the penalty and the re-kick at their own 34-yard line, leading at 28-0 with 8:51 left to go in the first quarter. Wilton Spate will be under center. Ty Isaac in the backfield. Khalid Hill to the left and the offset eye. One receiver split out wide to left, 2 tight ends to the right. Fakes the give to Isaac, cutting right across the middle. Wide open was Butt. Instead, they will go deep to Darbo, and a nearly spectacular defensive play made by Trayvon Henderson.
Henderson had fantastic coverage on Darbo. Undercut that pass as he fell backwards on Darbo. Darbo didn't have a chance at that one. And nearly an interception. Would have been the second of the day from Wilton Spate. Really trying to test out that arm. Just didn't put enough air on it.
So 2nd and 10 from the Michigan 34. Isaac takes the handoff, running right up the middle. Lots of room in front of him. Spun around, holding on tightly to that football and picking up 8 yards on the 2nd down carry. Sets up a much more manageable 3rd and 2 for the Maize and Blue.
Michigan 98 yards on the ground, 116 through the air for a grand total of 216. Update that now to 222 as the rush game just went over 100 yards on that carry by Isaac.
Simeon Smith checks in for Ian Bunting, who was hobbled on that previous play. He will line up on the far right side. The give to Isaac. He runs right between the center and the right guard and picks up 7 yards for the 1st down, crossing midfield. Michigan once again having success on 3rd down. They're now 5 for 5.
Just a well-oiled machine, Leo, offensively, defensively, in the air and on the ground. I've said it multiple times already this afternoon, but it just continues to bear repeating with how well this Wolverines team has conducted itself since the opening play. No looking back. It's all Michigan here in Ann Arbor.
Drake Johnson we have yet to see appear in this game. Chris Evans perhaps taking his role in there, but he gets the handoff fake to him. It's a dump off to the fullback, Khalid Hill, and he picks up 7 yards. That's a new wrinkle we're seeing this year, a fullback convert from tight end. Now he's a threat not only running the ball, but certainly as a receiver as well.
And the pass was a bit low, but Hill had some good hands, picked it up around the knees, pulled it back up, and turned upfield for a couple extra yards as Michigan is near to a 1st down.
Official timeout for injury. Michigan just wants to get back into play.
Trying to tell who the injured player is down on the field.
Well, that player, it appeared, got off under his own power. I believe it was Zeno Choi, the defensive tackle from Honolulu. Was able to get off under his own power, but once the official calls the timeout for injury, there is a stoppage.
Interesting note while we have a minute, the Hawaii team really consisting of players from mostly Hawaii and California, but there is one player local from Michigan Commerce Township product, Chris Posa. Originally went to Alabama, did not see much playing time, if any. Graduated in 3 years with an engineering degree and is now on the offensive line for the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors.
2nd and 4. Evans spins out of a couple tacklers, running towards the sidelines, lays a stiff arm down, gets to the 35. He turned a 3-yard gain into an 8-yard gain and a 1st down, Michigan.
Chris Evans burning his red shirt today, but has been burning the Hawaii defense on the ground as he goes close to 50 yards plus after that carry. That is 6th attempt for an even 50 yards.
And another freshman in on that play, tight end Devin Asiasi, the highly touted product out of the state of California, was in for that previous play. Trips receivers out wide to the left for this 1st and 10 from the Hawaii 33. The give is to number 13 for Michigan, Eddie McDoom on the end around, picking up 13 yards on his first touch of the ball this season.
Eddie McDoom, a freshman recruit that was much talked about because of his relatively cool-sounding last name. Has a pretty sick hairdo as well, but a nice end around there as he beat it to the outside for a nice rush, and that's his first play of his collegiate career.
And freshmen all over the field. Evans back in there at tailback. Darbo and Chesson split out wide to the right, and Hawaii taking yet another timeout. This officially their 2nd, with 6:16 left to go in the opening half. Michigan on top of Hawaii, 28-0. Michigan, we knew they had recruited a ton of talent, but it's got to be appealing to prospects to know you can play right away at Michigan if you're good enough. Harbaugh showing no concern about redshirting. He just wants the most talented guys on the field, and he's shown it today.
Emptying the holster, if you will, is the vast majority of the freshmen have already seen at least one down, if not more. Chris Evans, we've seen the red shirt burned. He's the leading rusher on this team right now as a freshman in his first game, leading the Wolverines rushing attack, which now accounts for 139 yards, 51 of which have come off the legs of Evans. Rashawn Gary has also gotten in the #1 recruit in the entire nation last year, has seen his couple of downs on defense as well. And Eddie McDoom throwing his hat into the ring on the last play with a nice rush for 15 yards.
Haven't seen Wilton Spate be asked to do much. There was the one deep ball that was nearly intercepted, but fell harmlessly incomplete. But outside of that, we haven't seen him asked to do much. He hasn't needed to do much, of course, with Michigan dominating so much of this game. Again, on top, 28-0 here, 6:16 left to go in the opening half. Would you like to see them open up the playbook more, perhaps try some deep out routes, or you just keep running because it's working?
The only thing that would be in my head if I were Jim Harbaugh is that this is a game that you are pretty much now expecting that you will win if you continue this play. You don't want to open up the playbook too much, show your hand, if you will, to anybody that is coming up. Michigan, a few games to open up the season here against opponents that are of relative ease, according to most experts. Hawaii, University of Central Florida last week, who I don't believe won a game all last season. Colorado Buffaloes, a program that has been in the rebuilding process since the 1990s. And really, you don't want to open up that playbook when you start to get into the meat of that season, the final 2 home games of what is a 5-game homestand start for the Wolverines against the Wisconsin Badgers and the Penn State Nittany Lions before going to East Lansing for their first away game of the season.
I will say Colorado looked impressive yesterday with a 44-7 over in-state rival Colorado State at Mile High Field. So not going to be a walkover as they have been in previous years, but certainly not the type of competition that Michigan will face in some of their premier Big Ten games. Their 3 arguably hardest games all coming on the road this year at Iowa, at Michigan State, and of course to finish at the year the greatest rivalry in all of college football at Ohio State.
And there is a likely possibility that if the experts are right and a few things pan out, it could be one of those classic games, Michigan and Ohio State, to close out the regular season in Columbus. A potential for both teams to be undefeated. And what a game that would be.
Still game 1. Let's slow our roll a little bit. Michigan
Slowing
on top.
it a little.
28-0 over Hawaii here. 6:16 still to play in the first half. Michigan 1st and 10 from the Hawaii 18. Chris Evans, the freshman, in at tailback. The pitch is to him running towards the Michigan sideline. Has blockers in front of him. Newsome laying a big block, leading the way. Evans reaching for the pylon. Did he step out of bounds? He did not. Touchdown, Michigan. Chris Evans.
Fantastic 18-yard rush from Evans, bouncing off of tackles, fighting his way to the outside. And the Michigan Wolverines find the end zone for the 5th time this half as they're about to go up 35-0.
And Michigan will be going for 2 here.
That is
interesting.
An interesting decision, not letting off the gas by any means. Potentially 36-0 if a 2-point conversion is successful. Looking to see if there are any fresh faces out on the field for the Wolverines. Asiasi, freshman tight end, is out there.
The review coordinator still out there, so they may take a look at this one.
Jim Harbaugh making his displeasure unknown.
I think Harbaugh had hoped to get the snap off as quickly as possible to prevent that from being reviewed. I don't believe you can do that, though, on a touchdown. I believe all scoring plays have the potential to be reviewed. This one, no different. Something new this year, though, they bring out a tiny monitor for the referee to review.
It did appear on the big screen that it was legal all the way and that Chris Evans earned every bit of that touchdown. We'll watch one more time here. It didn't appear as though he stepped out of bounds at all. Keeping a close eye on those feet as he fought off blocks, and that's got to be a touchdown, Leo.
Hard to disagree with you there. It'll be interesting to see what the call is from up in the booth. If nothing else, I think Michigan will certainly run out the PAT unit. The only reason I think they were even considering going for 2 was they wanted the quickest change, and we'll hear what the referee has to say.
Ruling on the field, stands.
So not enough to confirm it, but enough to keep it as a touchdown. And now the PAT unit does indeed come out, so it appears the going for 2 was simply, let's see how quickly we can snap it and not let them review it. You can't do that.
It
as much as Harbaugh wants to.
Have a light air of arrogance where that to be an actual full-on 2-point conversion attempt with Michigan up 5 touchdowns.
Garrett Moore's in at holder. Kenny Allen waiting for the snap from Scott Sipniewski. Good snap, good hold. Kick is perfect as well. And Michigan makes it 35-0 here with 6:07 still to play in the opening half. Michigan absolutely running rampant over the Rainbow Warriors.
Crowd sticking with this Wolverines team still just energized as can be after what was an unbearably long offseason without college football. And thank the powers that be that college football is back, Leo.
Amen to that. Kenny Allen will get set to kick things off here from his own 35, kicking it right to left. Hasn't been asked to punt yet, hasn't been asked to attempt a field goal either, just PATs and kickoff. And no one's going to complain about that in amazing blue uniform. This is about the best start of the season you could have scripted after that opening interception. May have caused some concern. All that concern has been wiped away. Wilton Spade has been nearly perfect. 9 of 12, 123 yards and 3 touchdowns through the air.
How about Chris Evans as they show video of him sitting on the bench? What a freshman debut so far.
Allen set to kick this one off. Another high kick that'll be fielded about 2 yards short of the goal line. DeJuan Butler brings it out and gets across the 25 down to the 27-yard line.
Again, Chris Evans, 7 attempts on the ground for 69 yards, averaging just under 10 yards a carry, touchdown. The longest run on that 21-yard scant into the end zone.
Ball at the 26-yard line. First and 10, Hawai'i.
The weather here in Ann Arbor, Leo, absolutely perfect. Mid-70s, the sun is shining down. There's a cool breeze coming in through the window now. Couldn't be better.
Hawaii starts this drive from their own 26-yard line. Woolsey with 5 receivers split out wide. Takes the shotgun snap, fires it out quickly, and picks up 2 yards connection with Dylan Colley.
And that is just the second completed pass of the day for Ikaika Woolsey. And just the 4th play that Hawaii has had for positive yardage.
Same formation here, trips to the left, 2 receivers split out wide to the right, those being Marcus Kemp and Colley in the slot to the right of Woolsey. Empty set backfield for the shotgun snap. Woolsey looking, firing to Colley on the in and out route. Mike McCray quickly blankets him after the reception is made. Woolsey to Colley, this time picking up 6 yards, and it'll be 3rd and 1.
Perhaps Woolsey finding a little bit of a groove now after going 1 of 6 to start. Has just completed 2 in a row. He's now 3 of 8. That passer rating has creeped up from the negatives, now at 25.1.
Michigan looking to bring pressure here on 3rd down. 8 men in the box. Woolsey in the shotgun, 3 receivers out wide to his left, St. Just to his left, and the give is to St. Just. Cutting up the middle, gets through the linebacking core, and picks up 8 yards on the carry, 1st down, nearing midfield, Hawaii's best drive of the game.
Beginning to produce after not having a single 1st down coming into this drive. That is the first down of the game for the Rainbow Warriors. Michigan, in contrast, 15 1st downs.
Hawaii now 1 for 6 on 3rd downs. At their first conversion, as you mentioned. 2 receivers out wide to the left for this 1st down snap from the 42 of Hawaii. Woolsey, the delayed give to St. Just, trying to get through a wave of tacklers as the flags come flying in towards midfield. St. Just dropped for a loss of 1. First man there, DeMonte Thomas.
There is a penalty flag on field.
Personal foul, chop block. Offense, number 65 and 51. 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
Asa Tui LA and John Wa'a committing that infraction. That'll drop him 15 yards. The chop block, certainly a point of emphasis. Player safety doesn't just apply to the head anymore, lower bodies. That's a dangerous play for defensive linemen. They're trying to kick that out of football with penalties like that.
I believe it was Minnesota the other night, Leo, had 3 ejections for targeting in one game.
Certainly another point of emphasis. We've been through the what's targeting fiasco in this press box plenty last year. First and 25 from the Hawaii 27. Low snap. Woolsey fields it cleanly, however. Fires it over the middle. Has his man Marcus Kemp, and he gets across midfield. A big connection there. 27 yards from Woolsey to Kemp.
Hawaii on offense finally showing some signs of life, taking advantage of perhaps some lax play in the secondary by the Wolverines. As Woolsey, again, started 1 for 6, has now completed 3 consecutive passes, and he'll creep close to 40 yards in the air on the day.
First and 10 for the Michigan 45 for the Rainbow Warriors. Again, looking in Kemp's direction. The back shoulder fade. Catch is made. A great play. Dribbling, blanketed him in coverage. Not much he could do. Kemp, just a better play as the receiver. Picks up 14 yards and again moving the chains.
The team that had no first downs coming into this drive has 2 already. That in addition to losing 15 yards on a chop block penalty.
We'll see if Michigan wants to review that previous catch as they head over. Harbaugh does to the official, a referee in today's game, Jerry McKinn. Let's see what he has to say after his conversation with Jim Harbaugh.
Still conversing down on the sideline. Harbaugh not too irate yet. Here comes the call.
Yeah. Timeout. Michigan. First of the half. Be a 30-second charge. Timeout.
So perhaps giving more time for the Big Ten replay officials to look at that play. I think that's the hope out of this timeout. First time we've seen Michigan's defense vulnerable in this game. What have you made of Hawaii's production on offense this drive?
This drive, it just seems as though they're finally taking advantage of some of the gaps in this Michigan defense, and they've been few and far between, but it was a little bit in the running game. That rush attack has creeped up to 2 total yards on the game. But really, Akaika Woolsey has finally started to find his receivers, has had a little bit more time to throw, and has been a little bit more comfortable and accurate. The passing game up to 52 yards in total now if this catch stands. Started off 1 for 6, has now completed 4 consecutive passes.
Harbaugh still hoping to get the play reviewed. Doesn't appear his request will be granted. So after the timeout and the combined 40 yards of completions on the previous 2 plays between Woolsey and Kemp, it'll be 1st and 10 for Hawaii on the 33-yard line of the Wolverines. Woolsey alone in the shotgun, trips receivers out wide to the left, 2 to the right. He takes the first down snap, looks to his left, now fires to the right, finds Dylan Colley on a similar out and in route, and he gets past Channing Stribling and Jabril Peppers, who are both covering him.
Another completed pass as Don Brown sent 6 men again in the box, just didn't get home in time as that pass was completed, just undercut that blitz. And a nice play by Akaika Woolsey, and another completion. That's 5 in a row. Hawaii threatening on Michigan's doorstep.
That connection for 18 yards. Hawaii threatening now in the red zone. Another quick out route to Colley. Jabril Peppers in coverage, concedes the 2-yard pickup, and a flag down on the field. Charlton shaken up. Illegal hands to the face, personal foul is the penalty against Hawaii, but the bigger concern right now for Michigan fans in a game that's 35-0 with still 2:47 left to go in the first half. Taco Charlton is on his back and he's rolling around in pain.
Michigan player receiving attention is Taco Charlton.
Trying to tell what might be wrong with Taco Charlton. It is not the lower body. It appears to be something above his waist.
Hopefully just the wind knocked out of him.
Now leaning over, favoring his right side. Jim Harbaugh out there on one knee along with the medical staff. Charlton is up and talking to the medical staff, sitting on his backside. Now they are, in fact, looking at something in his lower body, maybe a ankle or foot injury. Michigan fans here relatively mum
Yeah, last season, 5.5 sacks, 30 tackles, 8.5 tackles for loss for Charlton. I know
Was an
NFL
integral part of
types-
this defense.
And NFL types are loving him as a prospect. Todd McShay has him as his number 7 defensive tackle in the country. Good to see him. He rises to his feet, slow to get up, a bit gimpy, favoring that right leg. Not looking to put much weight on the left leg, but he's walking off under his own power. That's certainly a positive sign. But yeah, it's a left leg injury of some sort.
And doubtful that you will see Taco Charlton in the game again today, with Michigan up 35-0. Not quite at halftime, just a dominant performance, but the starters continue to stay out for the most part. Ohio State and Bowling Green, Buckeyes leading 21-10 as that one winds down towards halftime as well in Columbus.
1st and 25 after the illegal hands to the face penalty against the Rainbow Warriors from the Michigan 30. Woolsey in the shotgun has Paul Harris to his right, trips receivers out wide to the left. Marcus Kemp solo to his right. Shotgun snap, Michigan bringing pressure. Gets there, but not before he connects with Kemp. Kemp breaks a few tackles and picks up, let's call it 19 yards on the 1st and 25 connection. It'll be 2nd and 6 from the Michigan 12-yard line.
And Yakaika Woolsey continues to find these intermediate passes. Call it 6 completions in a row, I should say, as this passing attack for Hawaii continuing to make inroads on this Michigan defense despite 2 large penalties.
2nd and 7 officially. Woolsey in the shotgun, Paul Harris to his left. He will give to Harris. Harris cutting the right side, no receivers in front of him, but lots of green grass. He gets upended, but picks up the first down. An 8-yard carry sets up 1st and goal at the 3-yard line for Hawaii. The Rainbow Warriors threatening to score with 1:46 still to play in the first quarter, trailing by 35.
Hawaii kind of pulling an inside out on what Michigan did. The passing game now opening up the running game as Michigan looking to Woolsey's arm to make the decisions.
This drive now 8 plays and 71 yards. Thus far, Hawaii looking to punch it in for 6. 1st and goal from the 3. Harris to the left of Woolsey. Low snap, and Woolsey will be first to dive on it. Perhaps that defensive line pressure forcing the bad snap from John Wa'a.
And if you are Hawaii and Nick Rolovich, you have to have this touchdown right here before halftime with just 1:30 before the teams head back to the locker room. Hawaii's down 5 touchdowns. What would seem an insurmountable comeback would most definitely need a touchdown here. The best opportunity Hawaii has had all day.
Correction, Leo Kolawa Matungi was the center on that poor snap. Woolsey in the shotgun, trips receivers to his left. Paul Harris to his left in the shotgun at running back. Quick pressure, the ball is loose. Mike McRae forced the strip sack, but Woolsey, I believe, was able to dive on it. He was indeed. But Mike McRae providing the pressure, the 3rd sack of the game for this Michigan defense. All 3 sacks coming from the blitz of linebackers, and McRae wisely got that right paw on it, punched it loose. Heads up play, though, by Woolsey to dive on the loose ball. Ben
Gedeon would have been the next in there on the fumble. Mike McRae, though, that's a name that you have heard us call a lot this half, has been home a lot on defense and has made his name known. As Hawaii now 3rd and 16.
And they will use their timeout with just 5 seconds on the play clock. Hawaii will use their 3rd and final timeout of the half. So when they snap this next ball, it'll be 3rd and 16 with goal to go. And 19 seconds left in the first half. Michigan on top, 35-0. What do you expect from Hawaii to drop? As you mentioned, down 35-0. A field goal does them no good. So you'd expect 2 down territory, but they're going to have to go for the end zone on both these attempts.
Prior to this drive, nothing had been working for the Rainbow Warriors until they put a little more trust in the arm of Yakaika Woolsey, got the ball off the ground and put it in the air, and it's been productive as it's gotten Hawaii all the way down the field with Woolsey throwing for 88 yards or 84 yards, I believe, on this drive. He previously only had 4 yards in the air before Hawaii started, and I would have to trust the arm of Woolsey. If you put him back in the shotgun, maybe look at a play action shotgun, try and find somebody out in single coverage on either side, and try and get into the end zone before halftime. Michigan, though, eager to keep a clean slate if they can. To do that, they would at least have to force a field goal try, stopping Hawaii here on 3rd and 16.
And And it's worth noting during this timeout, Taco Charlton making his way across midfield, and he will head to the locker room. So that's now Davion Smith, Taco Charlton, and Brian Monet, who have all made their ways to the locker room in this first half. And again, Jordan Lewis, we have not seen play, according to the ESPN sideline reporter Jerry Punch. He was banged up prior to this game, so Michigan didn't want to risk anything. 3rd and 16 from the Michigan 16-yard line for Hawaii, trailing 35-0. Woolsey in the shotgun, 2 receivers out wide to both sides. He takes the shotgun snap, pressure coming in quickly, fires it to the right side. His intended target, Marcus Kemp, couldn't haul that one in, well over his head. A flag comes in, though, and it's illegal hands to the face against Michigan. Based on the initial indication, it'll be 1st and goal for Hawaii, if that is indeed the call. We'll go down to the official, Jerry McGinn.
Personal foul, defense, hands to the face, half the distance to the goal, automatic first down. Number 50 for Hawaii can stay in the game since his helmet came off due to the foul.
So Dejon Allen, a starting left tackle, who played right guard last season for Hawaii, had his face mask pushed up and the helmet coming off, and it's against the freshman, Rashawn Gary. The freshman in growing pains you'd certainly expect. Gary will be back in there. 1st and goal from the 8 for Hawaii. 14 seconds left in the first half. 3 receivers out wide to the right. Harris to the right of Woolsey, who takes the shotgun snap, rolling right, fires to Colley. The pass too hot to handle, slipping through the hands of Colley, but a great play design, just not the throw needed.
Woolsey know he had his receiver open, slapping his own hands in distress after missing what would have been, had he completed the pass, almost a for sure touchdown scant.
Dreaded ankle injury is the indication from our reporter on the sideline. Taco Charlton having that left ankle worked on, and that's why he headed to the locker room. 2nd and goal from the 8. 10 seconds left in this first half. Hawaii trailing 35-0. Tripped receivers out wide to the right for Woolsey, who's in the shotgun. Takes the snap, looking to his left, now looking right, flushed out of the pocket, will simply throw this one away. Was he in the pocket? Harbaugh on the sideline begging for it. I'm not sure there was a receiver in the area either.
No flag on the field as Harbaugh standing 3 or 4 yards off the sideline.
The head linesman coming in to discuss things with referee Jerry McGinn. The receiver who was in that right corner cut towards the middle of the field when he saw Woolsey under pressure. Woolsey certainly wasn't out of the tackle area. He drops back 10 to 15 yards, but was well between the tackles. And now a further discussion. This is one of those dreaded moments for the offense, just waiting to see if that flag is dropped. 2 seconds on the left in the first half, and here comes the flag. So it will be intentional grounding.
Rolling on the field, intentional grounding. Offense, lost it down in the last minute of the half with an illegal pass. We have a 10-second zap off. The half is over.
And a big break for Michigan as Hawaii was lined up for the field goal attempt. You cannot intentionally ground a pass in the final minute, as you heard from our officials. So that will end the half. Tough break for the Rainbow Warriors, but Michigan's defense has certainly earned the first half shutout. 35-0 will close out the first half. Jeremy, your first half impression on the 7th-ranked team in the nation, the Michigan Wolverines.
Again, the opening growing pain. Wilton Spade first play of the game on offense, threw an interception, but after that came back out, and the Michigan offense was unstoppable, tallying close to 300 yards, 280 to be exact here in the first half. Pretty evenly split both on the ground and through the air. Freshman to senior, everybody making their contribution, and the Michigan Wolverines have to head into the locker room feeling good, up 5 touchdowns.
And that will wrap up our first half coverage. In the second half, it'll be Morris Fabry and Jeremy Parks here high atop the press box on behalf of Michigan Football's Student Radio Network, WCBN FM Ann Arbor. The final score of the first half, Michigan 35, Hawaii 0.